Witness Uganda. Stand here on the edge of Lake Victoria where the Nile River begins, and it doesn't take long to see why Winston Churchill named this place the Pearl of Africa. We found Uganda a country full of surprises. Beneath the mountains, blanketed in coffee, tea, and banana farms, ranchers raise longhorn cattle. They even export this strain to Texas, where they're called Watusis. Uganda might well be the most productive country in all of Africa, except for one thing, or more specifically, one man. Idi Amin, out of power since 1979, his regime and the one that followed decimated Uganda with an estimated 1/2 million murders.
He destroyed the intellectual crust of this country because no other leader in Africa systematically killed off the intellectual class the way he and his soldiers did.
In the capital of Kampala, buildings still sport bullet holes, scars left by 20 years of civil strife that finally ended in 1985. But the deepest wounds are in the economy, left limping 20 years behind the times. Uganda is trying to catch up, but from the Kakira Sugar Works, where it takes a half a dozen men to load each bag of sugar, catching up looks nearly impossible. Uganda's president, though, sees things differently.
Uganda will be an industrialized country in 10 years' time. Even now it is already getting to be an industrialized country.
President Museveni is a school teacher turned revolutionary. He built the guerrilla army that threw out Amin's corrupt successors. Now he's revolutionizing the economy with bold steps, like bringing back the Asians.
What we had was here goats and no seats, and it was just totally, the whole building was leaking. Goats? Yeah.
Hemetlaw Gandesha is one of the 70,000 Asians Idi Amin forced out of Uganda. Museveni has now invited them back, and he's giving them back their property. For Gandesha, that includes his old movie theater, the very same place where he once hid from Amin's hired guns.
My secretary rang me up that they came to pick you up.
So what happened to you had they picked you up?
Oh, they were going to chop me off. I was already on the list because he wanted this hotel, Silver Springs.
Now Gandesha is back and investing millions to rebuild his empire. How much are you investing in just this one building?
About $3.5 million.
U.S. dollars?
Yes.
How do you have so much faith in this country?
Well, it's because this is my motherland. I was born in Uganda. I intend to die in Uganda, not die somewhere where I don't belong.
It is perhaps Uganda's most striking feature, a boundless optimism built on the ashes of a tragic past. It's a faith even the United States government seems to share.
The one thing that Idi Amin was unable to do was to kill the vitality and energy of the people on the streets of Kampala, on the streets of Jinja, on the streets of every town and village in this country.
The new government has freed the markets and the press. Now newspapers proliferate, and the market stalls once cut off from the world by anti-Amin embargoes now offer goods from all over the world. Are they from the United States?
From Italy.
Italy?
Yeah.
Playboy?
Yeah.
Good shoes? But the most important sector of the economy is industry. And it is here that the government is cutting red tape to help foreigners invest and local companies expand.
And Uganda Batteries is a company which is making motor car batteries.
Come take a look inside this typical Uganda factory. Every step of the battery making process is done by hand, but not for long. Factory owner James MULWANA is investing $500,000 in new machinery, confident the bad times are over.
I hope you'll be able to tell the American that Uganda today is different, and Amin is not there anymore. And what we have is a new leadership, which is very encouraging and very attracting for investment.
And those new leaders are also very confident.
Why not? Why can't we be more successful than South Korea? What South Korea does not have what we have. We have got more than what South Korea has got.
More than anything, we found Uganda a land of potential. To help change potential into productivity, Uganda has called on a Texan. We'll introduce you to him and to a lot of very interesting animals when Visions of Africa continues Sunday night. Gary Reaves, Channel 8 News in Queen Elizabeth National Park, Uganda. Just one ride across Lake Edward was all it took to convince us Uganda could easily be a tourist mecca. Hippos and water buffalo, even eagles. But as idyllic as it appears, there is something wrong with this picture. Missing are the elephants. Like these Uganda cobs, elephants once roamed Queen Elizabeth National Park by the thousands. We searched all day and saw only one. All but a few hundred were slaughtered for ivory during 20 years of civil unrest. The civil wars did have one strangely positive effect on Uganda tourism. They kept the tourist out for about 20 years. As a consequence, except for the damage done by the soldiers and the poachers, the best areas of Uganda remain unspoiled. Developing tourism is seen as a key to Uganda's future. Too bad most of the tourists are still afraid to come.
Gary's dad called up and he was crying. He said, we've heard about the AIDS, everybody knows about Idi Amin. You can't take our grandchildren there.
Karen and Gary Westerman came anyway as missionaries. Now they're trying to help the local church raise money for AIDS orphans by developing a hotel on scenic Lake Bunyoni.
There's a definite potential, and as a beautiful island that the church wants us to try to help them.
And on this day, they are lucky. They've met George RUBAGUMYA, a Texas lawyer dedicated to developing Uganda.
You hear people say Uganda is a paradise of Africa, and you think they're joking, and then you come here, you see this, and you find they are really telling the truth.
Born in Uganda, George was a student in the United States back in the 70s. When civil strife started back home, he stayed in the U.S. and went to law school, ending up in downtown Dallas.
For a native of the villages of Uganda, I didn't think I was doing very badly. But I came back because of the vitality and the energy you've seen in this town.
Last year, the government convinced him to come back and help rebuild. As head of the Uganda Investment Authority, he's charged with attracting foreign businesses and growing local ones.
Time has stood in this country. Capabilities of the people have degrees, but they don't have experience. There's no machinery to get the experience on.
At the Lakeview Hotel, it's a story they know all too well. The machinery here was all stolen during the wars, and as soon as owner Gordon WAVAMUNNO replaced it, it was stolen again. You think it'll happen again?
I don't think so. Things are getting better and better. I'm confident that we are going to continue with peace.
Though often imprisoned by past presidents, WAVAMUNNO has prospered by importing Mercedes-Benzes. In spite of the history, he's investing in tourism for a third time.
I would like to appeal to the Americans that they should come and see Uganda as a country which is very fertile, which has got almost all resources required on the earth. I believe that the investment will come back.
It's a kind of optimism that seems unfounded in a 7-year-old country that's still writing its constitution. But Uganda's new government appears committed to fairness and to change. So for the first time, people have faith.
The simple reason is that we work with the population. We do what the population is after, not our own interests. If we were to pursue our own interests, I'm sure we would fail.
With its president pushing government for the people, Uganda is teaching the world a surprising lesson that even the most dysfunctional African state can be reformed. But as I think back on our African experience, perhaps the best lesson I learned was in one of Africa's worst-run countries, Somalia. Here, children once weak from hunger display one of Africa's greatest strengths, perseverance. Their greatest wish is for peace so they can attend school again. Do you want to go to school?
Yes.
Everybody wants to go to school, but there's no school.
Yes.
With so little to build on, they are anxious to get started, to make the best of what they have. Whether on that continent or this one, it's what Africans have always done. Gary Reaves, Channel 8 News, Kampala, Uganda.